2026, the US government opened its files. Not all of them, but enough. Among the released documents were technical debriefing transcripts from Apollo missions, internal records never seen by the public, produced in the days after astronauts returned to Earth. What these men reported to NASA debriefers had not been published in decades, not because it was sensational, because no one knew what to do with it. The Apollo program was the most thoroughly documented technological operation in human history. Every second of every mission was recorded. Every instrument reading, every communication exchange, every trajectory anomaly. There was a reason for that. The Cold War was ongoing. The space race was political. Any failure could be exploited. Any ambiguous data could become a weakness. The astronauts were engineers, test pilots, military officers, men trained to observe with precision and report without speculation. When they said they saw something, there was a protocol. The account was documented, filed, classified, and then for decades it stayed there. 3 missions, 3 crews, accounts that none of them were able to explain. Apollo 11 landed on the moon on July 20th, 1969. 8 days later, on July 31st, the crew underwent a formal technical debriefing. Buzz Aldrin, lunar module pilot, the second man to walk on the moon, reported 3 separate events during the mission. The first occurred in transit, approximately 1 day from the moon. The first unusual thing that we saw, Aldrin told the debriefers, was 1 day out, or something pretty close to the moon. It had a sizable dimension to it, so we put the monocular on it. The crew debated what it could be. The most reasonable hypothesis was that it was one of the panels from the S-4B stage, a section of the Saturn V rocket, jettisoned earlier in the mission. But the geometry didn't fit. The panel should have been in a different position. The object was not identified. The second event happened at night. Aldrin was trying to sleep with all the lights off. I observed what I thought were little flashes inside the cabin, spaced a couple of minutes apart. Flashes of light inside a sealed capsule, in the dark. Aldrin wasn't certain he'd seen them on the first night, but on the second night, he was sure. The third event occurred during atmospheric re-entry, on the way back to Earth. I observed what appeared to be a fairly bright light source, Aldrin said, which we tentatively ascribed to a possible laser. Tentatively ascribed. The debriefing records no conclusion about the origin of the light. Apollo 12 landed on November 19, 1969, less than 4 months after the previous mission. After leaving lunar orbit on November 24th, astronaut Alan Bean reported flashes of light. Light he described as sailing off into space. "I was thinking they're dropping off from my water boiler," Bean said. "But it looks like some of those things are escaping the moon." Multiple photographs taken on the lunar surface during the mission were reviewed by the US government in 2026. In several of them, areas above the lunar horizon were marked with boxes, what analysts call areas of interest, where unidentified objects appear within the frame. Each photograph, a different area, a different object above the horizon. Bean was not able to explain what he was seeing. NASA was not able to explain the photographs. The files were classified. Apollo 17 was the final crewed lunar mission of the program. December 1972. The crew consisted of Eugene Cernan, commander, Ronald Evans, command module pilot, and Harrison Schmitt, lunar module pilot, and the only geologist to walk on the moon. What happened during the mission was documented in a 16-page transcript released in 2026 as part of the Pursue files. The document identifies 3 distinct periods in which the crew reported unidentified phenomena: a 9-minute period on the first day, a 3-hour period on the second day, and a 6-minute period on the third day. On day 1, Evans was the first to notice
a few very bright particles or fragments or something that go drifting by as we maneuver.
He reported to Mission Control. Schmitt looked out his window.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of big ones out my window down there. Just bright. Looks like the 4th of July out Ron's window.
The 4th of July. The crew proposed a hypothesis: ice or paint fragments dislodging from a separated component of the spacecraft. They called the hypothesis a wild guess. On day 2, it was Cernan who couldn't sleep. For 3 hours, the mission commander observed a series of flashing, rotating light phenomena. "The last one I remember before falling asleep," he said, "was the fact that there was a very bright spot that flashed right between my eyes, like a very bright headlight, like a train coming at you, only with a flash." After 3 hours of observation, Cernan reached a conclusion. What he was seeing corresponded to physical objects in space. It was not a purely optical phenomenon. On day 3, Schmitt reported a flash on the lunar surface, north of the crater Grimaldi, a flash on the ground of the moon. A photograph taken during the Apollo 17 mission in December 1972 shows 3 dots in a triangular formation in the lunar sky. In 2026, the U.S. Department of War opened an active case to investigate that photograph. 50 years later, the documents released through Pursue include an explicit note from the Pentagon. The materials archived here are unresolved cases, meaning the government is unable to make a definitive determination on the nature of the observed phenomena. That matters. It is not a confirmation. It is not a denial. It is a statement that the U.S. government in 2026 has no answer for what 3 crews of astronauts reported between 1969 and 1972. There are conventional explanations for some of the events. Cosmic radiation can cause visual flashes, a known, studied, documented phenomenon. Ice particles and spacecraft debris can reflect sunlight in unexpected ways. The problem is that the astronauts already knew those explanations. They were engineers. They were pilots. Some were scientists. When they reported what they saw, they had already considered the simpler hypotheses and still documented what they documented. 12 people walked on the moon between 1969 and 1972. None of them came back without a question they couldn't answer. The reports existed. The files existed. And for more than 50 years, they stayed where unanswered questions tend to end up, in a drawer. What changed in 2026 was not what the astronauts saw. What changed was that the government decided to stop keeping to itself the fact that it doesn't know either. If this is the kind of thing you can't stop thinking about, subscribe to Curious People Archive.